What up, what up, what up? It is Libra with Libra Stars Podcast. I am your host, Libra J. Hicks. And of course, my special guest who is always here with us, Angela Mitchell. How you doing,
Hey,
boo?
I am doing good and amazing and happy and free. How are you?
I'm good. That girl, same. When I tell you this, yes, that's same. I'm free as
That
fuck over
part,
there.
that
It's
part,
free and
free.
peaceful and quiet.
Yes,
Peaceful and quiet.
man.
Peaceful.
Yeah, that's the best way to be, ain't it?
Listen.
And it's a good place to be in.
It's always
And
a
it took
great
a
place.
long time to get here. A long time to get here.
And I'm going to enjoy every ounce of this shit. How
I'm
about
trying to
that?
tell you.
How
I
about
am
that?
trying to tell you.
How it
Yes.
goes, girl?
Listen, man, I am floating on cloud 9 or 10 or something.
I
I'm
know
just
it.
like I said, I'm in a very good place. In every aspect. I got
Good.
like one more aspect to work out, and once I'm done with that one, I think I'm gonna be sitting on top of the world, baby.
That's the
How you
part.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. All is well, child. We celebrated my boo. His birthday was yesterday.
Hey,
So
hey.
we did a whole Moroccan situation. We went to a Moroccan restaurant, belly dancing, the
I
food.
love
We
it.
dressed up in this. If y'all following me on the social media,
On
you
the
will see
social
on
medias.
the social media. You will. I'm actually gonna put the video up tonight of the weekend. It was really really
Oh,
cute.
cool. I can't
We
wait to
got
see. I
gifts and all
saw the
kinds.
picture. I did see the picture in your story. That was super cute. I said, look, how about this woman? Because listen, if I saw the first one of you, I'm like, wait, what? Oh, that is so cute. I love it. That was super dope, though. That was
Thank
super,
you,
super dope.
Sugars.
I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
it.
So y'all, as we continue our ADHD and bipolar conversation, this week we are going to discuss parenting prior to knowing we were ADHD and had bipolar. So I know for me, parenting was quite interesting.
Mm,
It was an
to say the
interesting
least.
situation. And let me say this because I'm free. I'm free.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say this again, ladies. Y'all ain't free. I'm about to show you what free really looks like.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna have to. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love my baby boy, but there was a period I did not want to do it, and I legit was considering putting him up for adoption. My
Hmm.
oldest one, I was wholeheartedly considering putting up for adoption because I really couldn't do it. And I really was in a space where I'm like, there's somebody better than me for this job because I'm not built for this.
Hmm.
I really
Hmm.
did have that.
Yeah,
And it was I oh God, that was a because I loved the fuck out of him. But I
yeah,
was like, I was depleted because I'm looking around me and I had no real help. Like no one was really invested like I was. Like everything
right,
that was going
right,
down was on my back. And during those times, it was just, I was working, I'm trying to take care of the kid, I'm going through insurance issues because many of you know my oldest is disabled. He has cerebral palsy and epilepsy. So I'm going through insurance situations, running
right,
back and forth to doctors, high anxiety. I'm trying to work, but barely able to work because I'm always off because my son is always sick or something
right,
going on. And I just
right.
and there was a day where I was just like, I love you. I hate what I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hate all
yeah,
this. I hated all of it, like
yeah.
with a deep passion. I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, there's got to be a family better equipped than me because I clearly don't have the tools. I don't even have the mental capacity. I barely got the physical capacity.
Right.
And I'm showing, I'm going to work, hate that shit. It was just my house was just a lot. It
Yeah.
was a
And
lot.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was a lot.
And I'm sure it was a lot with undiagnosed ADHD. So you don't even know how to navigate your feelings and your emotions and the stress and the triggers and all the things that goes along with that. You had absolutely no idea how to navigate it because you didn't even know what it was. You just were in it, right? Yeah.
That is
I can
accurate.
totally
And
relate.
when I tell you is I didn't recognize what sensory overload was. I wasn't recognizing
Right.
any of that. I was literally becoming overwhelmed and would just have a meltdown. When I say meltdown, I mean
Mhm.
I would fall clean apart. And it would be I'm like scratching to put myself back together so I can go parent. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it was
Mhm.
a many things. And I found myself grumpy, irritable, just overall, just depleted. And the deepness in that is, out of all of the adults around me, no one could understand. The when I would have a meltdown, I would
Mhm.
say, "You're crazy. What is
Mhm.
wrong with you? You batshit crazy." And it would just be like, and I'm hearing it from my parents, and I'm hearing it from my, at that time, my husband. I was
Right.
being told I'm crazy. Like, even when I would
Right.
try to express where I'm at, it, my mother would say stuff like, "Oh, girl, when I was your age, we had to do it all," and it would be in my head. It's just like, well, fuck, I can't fucking do it all. But what I
Right.
hear is
Right.
my
Right.
elders, because it wasn't just my mom that would kick that out. It'd be other elders that would kick that out. In my day, I didn't have all that.
And
I
so
just had
in
no.
yeah.
And in my head, it's just like, I'm saying that I can't. I'm saying that I don't know what this should look like. And all I'm
Right.
receiving is, you ain't tough enough, you crazy, you cry too much, you're too sensitive. And it's just like, it was just, I think I need to find another family for him. That's what
Mhm.
it was, just like, no matter which direction I'm turning, I'm told I'm too weak. I'm in, okay,
To
so
something. To
too
something.
right. So
To
now it's just
something.
like, the one day that shit hit me, it was just like, you know what? Y'all might be right. This baby might
Right.
need another family, because if I'm this fucked up, why do I even have him?
Right. Right.
Why is he even in my possession?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh goodness, can I relate? Yes, can I? Boy, can I relate.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any that, neither. I didn't have that type of trouble. But see, for me, it was the opposite.
Okay.
The when I'm and when I say the opposite, I mean the opposite in my emotions and how I handled things.
Okay.
I didn't have the breakdowns or any of that. I just kind of shut down.
Got it.
You see what I mean? Um and even when I was shut down, I maybe checked out is the word. That I think checked out is a better word than shut down, because I would keep going and going and smiling and going and going and
Okay.
working and smiling and I have been a mother since I was 17 years old. I've been a mother, I've been a girlfriend, I've been a baby mama, I've been a living girlfriend. I've been, all of this stuff since I was 17. I was a mother of two by 19. That a mother of two at 19 with undiagnosed
It was like,
bipolar disorder.
mhm.
Um, a mother of two at 19 with undiagnosed bipolar disorder who was sexually assaulted, who, didn't know who her father is, who wasn't raised by her mother, all of that mess. You know what I mean? And so I did not like being a mother at all. I loved my children. I did not like being a mother. I did not know what I was doing. And I was just doing, and I'm looking. Actually, I was doing what I saw. So I'm looking to the women, not necessarily in my family, just the
Okay.
women, because no real there were no examples in my family for me to look up to in this. Let me say it this way, that really messed with me. You see what I'm saying? Ain't
Okay.
nobody, you know what I mean? That were there. Now, don't get me wrong, I had my aunt. I had my big cousin. My big cousin was like the biggest example of motherhood for me. This woman had five daughters, triplets. She, five, she was pregnant three times and ended up with five daughters. And it was her and it was my aunt, which is her mother, that were raising them and taking care of them. But they had them. So I lived, at a time when I was a teenager and stuff. I lived over there a couple times. She taught me a lot, but there was still not the support that I needed, because I didn't even really know that I needed it, because I was so rebellious, I was angry, I was so many things. And so I would push away and move away and stay away. And I would stay away and I isolated myself. And they would think that I was being isolated by my kid's father at the time or whatever. And it wasn't him, it was me. It
Right.
was me isolating myself, withdrawing. You know what I'm saying? I would withdraw because I'm going through the depressive periods. I'm going through the highs and the lows, but I don't know I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is. And so as my kids grew older, I had all kinds of problems with my oldest son. And I would think to myself, I can't. My son had all kinds of, and I mean behavioral issues. I was constantly at school. He was constantly doing something. And it was just like, whoo, child. I mean, when I say constantly, constantly, constantly. And so then, of course, my two younger children were watching. So then my daughter started doing things. And so then there was a whole bunch of stuff going on with that. My youngest son didn't really do any, but either way it goes, here I am, 19, 20, 21, 20, all in that formative time. I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. I'm running the streets. I'm looking for something, you
Yes.
know, and I'm trying to find something as a teenager with bipolar disorder and jumbled craziness going on, and my mind can never stay in one place. And so when I'm high, I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing, and I want to go, lay up with the boys, or I'm having all kinds of sex, or I'm partying, or because I'm in that part of the high. Or when I'm depressed, my house is messed up. See, and people think that depression look like this, and it maybe you just sad all the time, or it look no.
No,
Depression look like your house is jacked up and it's a mess because you don't have the capacity to clean the shit up.
that's it.
Depression look like, all of that stuff, man. And when I think about it now, it's like, dang, that's really what was going on back then.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't
It
know
was
that.
with me too. It was with ADHD, I really followed if I don't like what I'm doing, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
If I don't see
Yeah.
the value, it's a struggle. So for me, it was literally forcing myself to show up in a space where I had to fully adjust me. Like I can't cry, I can't complain, I can't say how I really feel. But then at the same time, they're like, say how you feel so you can get help. But shit, if I do that, then y'all talk about me bad. So
Mhm.
is I have to show up in a uniform, and that was excruciating because it was masking. It was a
Mhm.
lot of masking,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you can't ask questions because if you ask questions, that you get talked about for asking the questions. So it was
Right.
just many things, and then I got this kid, so I got a mask in front of these people. Then I got to go into the doctor's office and advocate for him and still mask at the same time. So it was
Mhm.
like my energy was in the pit because I'm literally having to scratch to get some, and I didn't realize at the time um, a lot of that was meltdowns. A lot
Right.
of it was sensory overload, just
Right.
being just overly inundated in my brain with a bunch of
Yeah.
shit. And then having to mask, you know what I'm saying? Having to
Yeah.
show up and be socially acceptable because who I am
Mhm.
for real is not socially acceptable. So
Mhm.
it's like
Mhm.
if I
Mhm.
want to interact with folks, I gotta put on. And if I and
Right.
then people used to wonder why, I would go home and just want to be by myself. Don't bother me, don't fuck with me, leave me in the room. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to smell you, hear you. I don't
Right.
want to do because I've been doing you all day.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
have
Right.
been socially acceptable all day in this space. Whatever Libra looks like in this space, I'm gonna just need y'all the fuck out so I can do what
Mhm.
Libra looks like in this space. And it was a
Mhm.
lot of that. And I spent a lot of time alone when I wasn't working or out partying and drinking and coping is what I was out coping. That's really what
Right.
it is. I mean, the action was partying, but the driver behind it was me coping.
Right.
Um, so if I wasn't outside coping and I wasn't, having to show up in life, then I was by myself because it was just
Yeah.
easier. It's much
Yeah.
easier. It was just much easier. Um, and being a mom with undiagnosed ADHD,
Child.
I,
I
uh,
know it. I know it. I know it. And I can't, like I said, I can't imagine. I don't even have to imagine because, this is what was happening. This was my
yeah,
life. This
yeah,
was my life. And then add to that, the toxic, the like with my children's father, with their, I was like engulfed in his world, in his family. And because this is what I wanted so badly. I wanted, a family. I wanted the dinners. Because I didn't grow up with any. And so I
right,
wanted my children to have a mother and a father that were
right.
together, that were in the household together. And, grandma, we'd go to grandma house and we having all these, because, I never had Sunday dinners and family dinners
Me
and
either.
holiday meals and all of those things. And so when I got that, I jumped at the chance, but it was a toxic, toxic dynamic. So I'm learning motherhood, womanhood still, at this stage of my life. And I'm learning it from a woman who probably really didn't learn it herself, a woman that was a 16-year-old mother herself, a 34-year-old grandmother. So I'm learning this. Of course, I don't think of it. Not then. I didn't think of it then, but she was 34 years old.
Right.
So what the hell does she know about being somebody's grandmother? You know what I'm saying? She just getting through motherhood,
Right.
womanhood. She 34 years old and she has 3 kids. So I've immersed myself into this toxicity and the craziness of this family. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy that just came right now to me. That thought just came right now to me. Like, well, damn, this, and not to add that she already was had a little stuff going on with herself. And so
Right.
this is what I was raising my children in, and this is what I'm learning motherhood and womanhood in. And then add, bipolar disorder on top of it, add domestic violence on top of it, add all of that stuff on there. And then I'm like, and I gotta be a mama too. Damn.
That part. That part.
And I gotta try to go to work. And I got, if I gotta go to school every other day, to the school every other day because you're fighting. I gotta go to counseling. I gotta go to talk to these white folks, these doctors, because you in there acting a fool. And I don't know how to handle any of this
Handle
stuff.
all of that.
I don't. And so it comes out where you just sit in your room all day because I don't know what else to do with you.
That's
Or it
me.
comes out where I'm gonna beat your ass, or I don't, because I don't know what to do,
What else
because
to
I got
do?
all of these emotions and I don't know how to handle it, and so it
And then
comes out violently. It
that's
comes
the
out as
part.
outbursts. I have bipolar disorder. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it comes out that way. And of course, then I'm not on medication, or I'm not doing none of that because I don't know what's going
Y'all
on.
know what's going on, right?
Add to that, back then I was drinking just about every day. That's how I was coping.
Coping. Coping.
Drinking every day, smoking
Coping.
every day,
Coping.
having sex every day. Well, maybe
Yep.
not every
That was
day, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
Those
no,
were
no,
the
no.
things that
Yeah.
we were doing though to cope, because we trying to find something, or we trying to fix what we don't know is broken.
That part. We're
Yeah.
running. That yeah, I relate with that. Like I would come home after working and being overstimulated and I get
Hmm.
home and I can't come out of being overstimulated because I gotta play mommy.
Yeah.
Gotta, you know what I'm saying? I'm walking
Yeah.
into drama because I don't know what the husband had going on. It was just
Right.
never ending. And I would find myself running a lot. Like I would, you know, not come home, go drink, be
Yeah.
out, spend the night at a
Yeah.
girlfriend's house, cousin's house, yeah, it was a lot going on. Even when I was younger, prior to being married, I was out there having all kind of sex, drinking, partying,
Running the
um,
streets, doing
yeah,
all
in
of
the
it.
streets and stuff, just
Hmm.
trying to have a good time outside of having to you be something that I didn't want to be, or at that point prior to now. I was really accepting that this is what life was gonna look like. I was gonna have to put
Yeah.
on, and this is just what it was. Now I fixed that because the girl today, listen, we not doing none of that.
Yeah.
This is what it
Oh
is, and either
yeah.
you rocking
Yeah.
or you not. But back then, I really did, which was pushing me towards the adoption, because it was
Hmm.
just like if I'm here, and I'm one of those people at that time that said if majority says something about you, the shit must be true. So
Hmm.
when you have the majority telling you you're just too much, this that and the third, it ain't right, and
Right.
it was
Right.
just like, well, maybe I'm really not built for this. I'm really not built to be a mother. I don't have the femininity for it. I don't have
Yeah.
the womanhood for it.
Yeah.
Clearly the elders know what they're talking about because I'm falling apart. And no one was really interested in trying to figure out why I was there. It was toughen up. You got to toughen
Hmm.
up. You got to suck it up. You got to toughen up. You just cry too much. You feel too much. You shouldn't be that emotional. When I was your age, I just had to handle it. You know what I'm saying? I just had
Yeah.
to get up and
Yeah.
do it. And I'm just like, so I got to be
Yeah.
mad and not only, so I got to be angry. I got to stay like this, be scolded for being like this, but I can't do nothing else but this. I don't understand that
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
that's what it felt
Mhm.
like. It was just like, I got to do this. This is a lie. And then I got to act like I like this shit. That's another
Mhm.
lie. And then if I show any type of emotion that says I can't handle this, I'm under pressure, I am weak, I am depressed, I
Yep.
need help, then you tell me I'm weak-minded because I'll, you know what I'm saying? It was just wild to me. It was just
It
wild. And then if you
was.
ask questions with the intent to gain understanding, then you get the, well, what you asking me that for? And you know, you just, you don't get nothing clear so you can really work on yourself. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is in circles and twists and turns. And for me, it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, let me get the fuck out of the way because
Yeah.
let me figure out who gonna take this baby. I love my baby, but let me see who gonna take
But
this
let me
baby.
see what I can do with this. Yeah.
That I'm being told I'm not equipped for this job, so let
Right.
me figure
Let
out,
me go ahead and let somebody else do it.
let
Right.
somebody else do this, and then
Right.
let me go figure out why I can't do what these strong, quote unquote, strong black women is doing. Why I
Mm-hmm.
can't match that energy. Why this? What? And then not only that, but now I'm told I'm raggedy while I'm doing it. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
So now my look ain't shit. I ain't shit. My parenting ain't shit. Me being a woman
Mm-hmm.
ain't shit. Then
Mm-hmm.
I need to just disassemble this
Mm-hmm.
whole thing and figure out how do I become that over there? Because
And
y'all, and then as I'm growing, because I'm running into shit, because with the adoption, what made me back out of that is not being certain that he would land somewhere that would love him properly, because my fear was he would be given to somebody who would be abusive and
abusive or
he was not
neglectful. Yeah.
capable of helping himself. And I'm like, that was terrifying for me. So I'm looking at all of this and I muscle through, because clearly my baby's 8, 9, he'll be 19, he's with me. But I really had to start looking at stuff. And when I say stuff started happening, like outside of that, I'm breaking furniture, marriages, I'm starting to find out little lies here and there. You know, stuff is starting to bubble to the surface.
Yeah.
Friendships is starting
Yeah.
to bubble to the surface, and stuff is getting ready to pop. Even
Yeah.
with my own family, it was like we're really out here with mental health issues being told to muscle it through and suck it
Yes.
up.
Yes. I used to
I'm
be
looking at my younger
dying inside.
cousins behind me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh, they look much more tired than I was,"
Yeah.
because we are literally told, and that was on both sides of my family. It's
Yeah.
you the weak one because the women don't act like that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? The women over
Mm-hmm.
here, we're strong and we're child. I'm not her.
Girl, I am so sorry I'm not her. But you know what? I didn't even have that.
Mm,
I didn't even have that. I didn't have that.
I got you.
You know what I mean? And so I used to be like screaming inside, and wanting to shrink and just ball up. You know what I mean? And back then, I was vocal, but I was never vocal for myself in defense of
Okay.
myself. You know what I mean? I was always um and I'm going through all of this crap and I'm over here fighting with this man and I'm fighting girls and then all of this other crap and I'm raising kids and it was just so
So
much
much.
and I used to be screaming inside and wanting to disappear a lot of times. You know what I mean? Wishing I could disappear a lot of times. And of course and listening to his mother say, well, that, and thinking it's funny, like, ooh, y'all be over there fighting like cats and dogs. Or he'll say, you can't just fight him. You got to fight Angie like a man. Well, I'm not a man. I'm a girl, but it's not going to happen because you're not just going to
Right.
beat my ass. So, yes, you do. And I'm thinking this is cute, but I was still screaming and dying inside. And I hated it, but I was fighting for it and don't know where in the world to turn. And my mind is all over the place and wanting to just say, oh my God, can I just die now? And you know what I mean? And then, like I said, the thing is with me and I never, my kids was with me always. So when I ended up homeless, my kids were with me. If I'm wherever I was, my kids were with me. You know what
That
I
part.
mean? And it was just overwhelming. So
It was
it was overwhelming. And not to say that I didn't have help as far as like the babysitting part, but it was only to a certain extent.
right.
So like my mother never babysat ever,
Mm.
ever. She watched my oldest son one time and he didn't even make it through the whole night because he cried and she brought him home. Listen, he may have been there 4 hours. She said, I tried to give him oatmeal, he wouldn't eat it. I'm like, what? She brought his ass home. So that was the end of that.
Okay.
His my kids' grandma, my two oldest children, their grandmother, she would babysit, but only to a certain extent. She wouldn't babysit for me to go back to school.
Oh.
She wouldn't babysit for me to go to work. She would babysit for anything like that. She would get them maybe on the weekend, but she would never babysit for me to better myself, to do anything in that was in betterment of myself. And it was, you bet not put my grandkids in daycare and this, that, and the other. And the same thing with the father. You bet not put my kids in da, 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 da. And he in jail all the time. So it's me. Yeah, he was always in jail, always.
Telling you
It's
not to put
me.
babies in the daycare.
Right. And in my 17, 18, 19, 20, and I did what I was told to do because this was my family and this,
Right.
my mother-in-law and this,
Yep.
and so, and here I am stuck and struggling in a place where I don't want to be. I'm not making no money, or I'm running the streets trying to make some money, or I'm doing, things like this. That, and coupled with that, that's toxicity. And then I wonder why my kids is, Lord, running around here like maniacs now, but it goes on, and but really, it really is generational, and we really keep passing that
We
crap.
do. And
We
I
keep
refuse.
passing
I
it.
couldn't do it. Like when I tell you, I could not do it another day. Even and leading up, because I told this story on another one of our shows about me
Mhm.
going to the doctor and being
Yeah.
rejected for services. Leading to that, I had suicidal thoughts because I had reached a point to where it was like I'm showing up, and none of this shit I'm showing up for is for me.
Right. Oh
None of
yeah.
this shit that I'm showing up for, I'm stressed over, I'm tripping over, I'm overstimulated for, that I'm taking these L's for none of this is doing anything for
Mhm.
me. It ain't doing shit
Mhm.
but tearing me down. And now I really was questioning if I even needed to be here part of this, because I was
Right.
like,
Right.
what is this am I in? What is this I'm
Right.
in? Why is it like this? What is this? Like what is this? And there was
Right.
a point where it was just like I don't even know if I really want to continue with life. And I had suicidal thoughts for a minute.
Yeah.
Um, and that shit was hovering. Like it was like hovering.
Mhm.
Hovering. Every time, like, I
Mhm.
mean, every time I was met with something, it was like, oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
all right, we're doing this again. Do
Yeah.
I really want to do this again? Like I was in. Um, and then I go to the doctor because there's a part of me that's just like, you gotta carry out what you were put here to do. Don't end this
Mhm.
shit prematurely. Don't
Mhm.
do that. That is a disservice to the purpose that you have here. And so
Mhm.
I said, all right, in my head, I gotta struggle it out. I gotta figure it out. I gotta whatever button I need to press, I'm gonna press it. I didn't even know
Mhm.
what buttons to press. I didn't even have people around me that could tell me what buttons to press, nor did I have people that were interested in trying to help me figure out what buttons to press because they were
Right.
so invested in telling me how fucked up I was. None of them were invested in trying to say, you know what, I done told the girl she was fucked up, but I do have a tool or two or
Mhm.
some knowledge or something or a phone number or something or a website
Mhm.
or something that she can start at. Nobody did that. Not even
Mm-mm.
listen, and
Mm-mm.
and let me go one more step further if I may. When I started my nonprofit, I had a whole mental health therapist on my board. And she
Mm.
even called a bitch crazy because there were times where I would flip out on my board members and then I would come back and apologize. And I would say, I don't know what is going on with me. I get so overwhelmed. I'm thinking I can talk and they're just looking at me like I'm crazy. Fast
Mhm.
forward, when I get my late diagnosis and I think back to them situations and I think back to the people who
Yeah.
were qualified to tell a bitch she was something was wrong.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
wanted to do that because we were all invested in telling me how fucked up I was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is why
And
now in
then
these times when people try to really tell me stuff, there's nothing that can even when I say there's nothing anyone can say to me in this time because I didn't heard it
mhm.
all. There's
Mhm.
nothing that can even break me
Mhm.
these days.
Mhm. Yeah. But you know what? That's because, we took the time to figure it out and do the work. And it's work, man. And the work still continues and it's not done. You
It's
know what
not
I
done.
mean? It's
It's not.
not done. It's just that we now understand, we know and understand what it is. But can you imagine um how different it would have been had we known and had the diagnosis? Can
Much
you
different.
imagine? You know what I'm saying?
Much.
And I look back and I have zero regrets. You know what I
That
mean,
part.
as far as that. I mean, it is what it is. But
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, Dad, just imagine had I known this sooner. Just
Mhm.
imagine had I known this sooner. That's why I think it's so. This platform right here is so very important. Because it's somebody's mama somewhere, that's gonna get hold of this and like, man, this sound like me. This sound like my situation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just that's just crazy. Like just imagine how different things could have been.
Yeah.
Not just for ourselves. I think of just, how different things may have been for my children because they would have had a different me. You know what I mean? So
I
yeah.
say that often in this space. I said my oldest son had the lowest vibrational piece of me. When I say
Child,
he had
the lowest of the
the
low.
lowest of me. Okay.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
the lowest
Yeah.
of me. He had the
Yeah.
absolute gutter lowest of me. I would, and let me say this openly because I ain't ashamed to say it because that's not the case now, but I gotta call it what it was. I was not a good mama.
Me neither.
I was
Mm-mm.
not a good mama. I was not a good mama. And let me
Hmm.
be clear, it's okay to admit that shit. Let me be very
But you
clear
know
because
what? Yes, you were though, because if you're able to, I feel like this. What is the definition of that though? I mean, of course, maybe you weren't the best mama.
right, I get you. But
You
I
know
was
what I'm
at my
saying?
lowest. There was no way I could give my son what he gets now because I was at my lowest.
No.
I couldn't breathe
Mm-mm.
life into that boy. I didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have it. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have none of that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have it. So for me, that was poor parenting. And no
Yeah.
one around me could give me what I needed when I needed it. Like when I'm asking for it, I got questions about it. I had people around me that couldn't answer the question, didn't want to answer the question. So it was for the space that I was in. No, no, no. I was not a good mama. I had to become
Mm.
a good mama. And the more I
Mm-hmm.
started loving myself, because I didn't have no value.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
no self-worth. I didn't have shit. I didn't have no
None
confidence.
of
I
it.
had a lot. I had an attitude and I was willing to fight you. That's where I was. And I
Right.
that and there were situations, and let me just say what it was. There were situations where I allowed my anger to put me in situations where I should have lost my son. Let me be
Right.
clear there. Because
Right.
there were situations that he was a part of where I cut a whole donkey and that shit could have gone left. So he did not have a good mother. He had a very hostile, highly
Whew.
emotional, driven, low
Child.
vibrational ass mama. Now, I made a
Listen.
conscious decision to become a good mama. I made a conscious
Yeah.
decision that even with me being rejected with help, even with me not even understanding what help needed to look like, I was willing to press whatever button because I had pressed all the buttons already. So
Mm-hmm.
I know I was like, well, fuck it. If I could press buttons to do all of this over here, let me press some more buttons and see what I could come up on to get out of this bucket that I'm in. And it
Mm-hmm.
was one of the most excruciating things I've ever had to do. Finding myself so that I can be what my oldest son needed as a mom. And first of all, acknowledge it, admit it,
Mm-hmm.
own it, and work on that shit was not easy at all,
Right.
but I had
Right.
a willingness so my son could have the best version of me. So now him getting the best version of me opened up his life because I was able to do more. And that state, he was in the house. He wasn't getting out. And when he was getting out, it was a toll. It was the energy was off. It was you
Mm-hmm.
could tell that I was trying to force myself to be this mother that I didn't care to be because it
Oh
was
yeah.
I was
Oh
forcing it.
yeah.
And he could feel that I was forcing it. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Of
And
course.
he felt
We
that.
think they don't feel and notice and listen, but they do.
They do.
And the thing for me is, like my two oldest children are only 14 months apart. There's
Okay.
a huge gap between my two oldest and my youngest.
Oh.
So I was 27 when I had my youngest. I was 17 when I had my
Okay.
oldest. So he got a better version, but he still didn't get the
The
greatest version.
best,
He still
yeah,
didn't. He still didn't.
right.
Because at 27, I still was undiagnosed. At 27, I still was traumatized. At 27, I still was going through all, because my son was still 9, 10. You know what I'm saying? So I still
Right.
was in all of that stuff, and all of the turmoil and the chaos and I was still in all of it. So he got a better version, but he still didn't get the best version. You know
That
what I
part.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
What are your final words for those who are maybe in this space and just scared to say something, open their mouth, ask for help? What do you tell them?
Open your mouth and ask for help.
That part.
And like seriously though, that's it. Um, it's scary. It's a scary place to be in, especially when your mind is all over and you don't quite understand you know what I'm saying, what's going on. Man, you gotta really acknowledge that part. And the thing about it is in the acknowledgement and taking accountability for your own stuff, because it's still our own stuff. No, you know, no
Right.
matter what it is, it's still our own stuff. And you're not going to get diagnosed. You're not going to get it until you go and say, you know what, I need some help. So if you feeling that and you feeling those are the symptoms and the signs. That's, like I said, depression looks like you can't get up, or your house might be a mess, or it's food, you know, that's what it looked like. You know what I mean? And if you feel like you're in that space, you have to take the action to look for some help somewhere. And it has to, I don't know, start with your doctor. You
Please
know,
do.
start with, if you can't start there, start with another sister that maybe you can reach out to, but reach out to somebody. Reach out to us.
That part.
You know what I mean?
That's the part. And to piggyback on that, even if you get a no, don't that does not mean you stop. You keep
Right.
going. You
Right.
keep and I'm speaking from experience, okay? There's times where your creator, your God, whatever you choose to worship, will have a plan in how you are going to get your shit together, right? And mine did not come in the form of a therapist first, which we all preach. Mine came in the form of a meditation guide. Then it led me into a therapist that actually was invested, like really had an invested interest to say, no, I want to see you win, and actually
Hmm.
held her word and did that shit. Um,
Hmm.
and then I started meeting people along the way. And what did it for me is being receptive to feedback, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. I had to be willing to listen to the foot soldiers, because we often talk about God sending you people to help. Sometimes them people gonna drop gems and then keep right on moving. They not meant to do it, just meant for that little 5 or 10 minutes that they give you
Hmm.
of their time to give you the feedback and the messages. I just became very submissive to life, and just understanding when people spoke to me or felt inclined to speak to me, I absorbed whatever they told me, because
Right.
9 times out of 10, I would get something out of it. I might not take the whole sermon, but there's
Right.
a piece in
But
there
you,
that I
there's
can,
something in there.
there's a
Absolutely.
brick in there that's going to help me get to the next level if I listen.
Absolutely.
So what I
Absolutely.
say is keep asking for help, open your mouth, let them call you crazy, let them do all of that, and you keep digging for help in the process. And in
Hmm.
that, when you hear people speak to you, don't shut it off. That might be God trying to help you get through until the right people make it into your path.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's all
Absolutely.
I got. We did that, honey. We
Yes,
did
ma'am.
that.
Yes,
Until the
ma'am.
next episode of Libra Thoughts.
Bye.
Deuce.